Welcome to a special edition of SJB News, in collaboration with BBC News School Report. And what a lineup we've got for you today. Coming up in today's programme, red nose fever has swept the nation. Dramatic images following near catastrophe near an Italian resort. Hollywood actor Harrison Ford in real-life rescue scenes more familiar to his films. The very latest news on NASA, new adventures in dwarf planets, and Birmingham scholars create a revolutionary way to create electricity.
Now for the national news. Around 200 skiers have been stranded in the Italian mountains in a cable car on a holiday the holiday makers were rescued after hours of waiting in the Val Gardenia resort due to a tree collapsing on the power lines. A helicopter had to rescue the skiers in freezing temperatures and strong winds at 80 miles per hour. Luckily, no one was injured.
Harrison Ford, the 72-year-old movie star, has crash-landed his vintage plane on Venice golf course. He was seen to walk out of the crash site with blood stains on his face, and his family have said he is fine and he will be expected to make a full recovery. Due to this injury, the new Star Wars movie already rescheduled because of Harrison Ford breaking his leg on the set. Now, the movie will be won't come out until next year.
Red Nose Day and comic relief. Red Nose Day has just passed, and we will tell you about what has happened on the day. Since its launch in 1988, which raised an amazing 15 million, Red Nose Day has become a British phenomenon. This year, people all over the country are doing crazy things. For example, make your face funny for money. There have also been many TV shows dedicated to raising money for comic relief. For example, The People's Strictly. There were only 6 people chosen to take part of their efforts to make a difference in their community. For example, Philip Barnett from Cornwall founded his own charity and since has raised an amazing £2 million.
Also, the Great Comic Relief Bake Off featured Dame Edna, Zoella, Joanna Lumley, Gokwan, Jonathan Ross, and many more. It has influenced people to bake to raise money. For example, Rose and her colleagues at the Outward Bond Trust in Cumbria raised £150. This is enough for a disabled child to buy a wheelchair in Zambia. On the 13th of March, many events will take place to raise millions. These include the final of the People's Strictly, the final of the Bake Off, and we will raise plenty of money to help people in the Third World and the people in need around the world.
Now, news in the future of space exploration. NASA's Dawn probe is set to go into orbit around the dwarf planet Ceres. Located between Mars and Jupiter, it is the largest object in that area and first dwarf planet ever visited by a spacecraft, and it will collect information for the next 14 months. Scientists hope to uncover information on how our system was created 4.5 billion years ago. The probe is currently travelling quite slowly relative to the dwarf planet and should be captured by its gravity. The Dawn project manager at NASA explained their tactics, saying, "Over the next month, we'll reshape the orbit and get ready for the prime phase at its closest approach. The separation will be around 40,000 kilometers, 10 times closer than the Moon is to the Earth." Hopes are that the orbit will slowly lower until it's just a few hundred kilometers from the planet.
Waste into energy. There's been a new scientific breakthrough involving using your weed to produce energy. Some UWE students with Oxfam to provide a better life for poorer people. The studies have been conducted in Birmingham and will be used in third world countries. They would like to turn waste into electricity so we can be resourceful and make a better life for people living in deprived countries.
Now, welcome to the SJB News section. Here is where we will tell you about what is going on in our school.
To find out more about how comic relief is helping in Africa, and to find out what conditions are like in Gambia,
Roisin and Kira had an interview with
with the fascinating Miss Bowman.
Hi guys, I'm Luca.
I'm George.
And coming up on today's programme,
We have an interview with Miss Bowman about her trip to Gambia.
and how she experienced what the Gambians experienced.
So, Miss Bowman, why did you go to Gambia?
Well, I had the opportunity to take a group of young people to the Gambia last February during half term. We are friendly with someone who's worked out in the Gambia for about 25 years, raising money for various projects. And we thought it would be a good idea to take a group of young people to see what Africa was like and to take part in some of the work that was going on out there.
What did you do when you were in Gambia?
Well, last year we decorated a mother and baby clinic, which was used by a village and the surrounding area. So lots of people went and took their young babies and children to the clinic. It was in a very poor state of disrepair, dirty, with no running water, although there was running water, but it wasn't working at the time. So we decided we would decorate it inside and out and provide a nice clean environment for the local villagers to use.
What's the difference between Gambia and the UK?
It's a very peaceful country too, but they have very, very limited resources, very limited medical supplies, very few doctors. The country's only trained 7 doctors itself, which is very few. So generally they have very, very little. Children don't have toys, they play with whatever they can find outside. So very, very limited in the resources that they have.
What was working with Gambians like?
It's wonderful. They're lovely, lovely people. We went to work alongside them, not to do the decorating and the work for them. This year we went into a school and we decorated a school block. So we had the teachers working with us, we had local villagers, we had ex-students working with us. So it was very much a collaborative project working with local people. And it was fun, enormous fun, great to work with them. We met people we met the previous year, so we were going back to meet friends, and we all had a really good time, and we've resourced them now to carry on the work once we're not there. So at the moment they're putting electricity into the school and doing more decorating, and we'll continue to resource them so they can do things for themselves.
With science becoming a very diverse subject, with students throughout schools in the United Kingdom and teachers trying to find new and exciting ways to help students engage with lessons, what else can be done to help science become more appealing for students? With a vast curriculum, what can be done to help students get that A grade? Our correspondent Dominic had a chance to speak to scientist and well-known author of Bad Science, Dr. Ben Goldacre.
Do you think that we should be taught to think more critically in subjects such as science?
I don't know, man. I mean, I think you probably are taught to think critically, but really thinking critically is sort of I'm not a school teacher, but I think a really big part of thinking critically is confidence and permission. Is thinking that it's okay to criticise a piece of work and having the confidence to believe that you've pulled through the problems enough to have a genuine criticism to make. That, and obviously a basic level of intellectual horsepower, which I don't know where that comes from. But some people have it and some people get given it, I'm sure, over time.
Do you think changes should be made to the way that all subjects are taught, such as you said something about the randomised trials, how to think and taught?
So I don't have any strong views on any specific method of teaching, but it's really striking to me that we're really bad at doing randomised trials, these head-to-head comparisons, to find out what is the best way of teaching, but not just teaching, all the other stuff that we do in schools. So, for example, what's the best way of delivering sex education to stop people getting STDs and having teenage pregnancies? What's the best way of preventing absenteeism? What's the best way of containing antisocial behaviour? There are lots and lots of things that we can do randomised controlled trials on, and we don't generally, typically, in the UK, and we should. And we're actually, randomised trials in education are commonplace in other parts of the world, but not in the UK, and that's a real shortcoming. And it's a function, I think, of the culture in education academia in the UK, which has traditionally been very much about qualitative research rather than about randomised trials.
In education news, should drama be removed from school curriculums? Ed Miliband pledges Ofsted will recognise creative subjects in inspections.
The Labour Party unveiled plans to link arts with schools through a local culture champion to recognise drama among other subjects.
Earlier, we spoke to teachers and students about opinions on drama and the influence of the subject.
Julia, do you like drama?
Yeah, I do. Because it's really fun and you get to do stuff. You don't just sit down in a classroom, and you can be really imaginative.
Rory, how has drama benefited you?
It's made me more like open as a person. Like I can now say things that I want to say. Like I have more confidence, and I can do any. I feel like I can take on more responsibilities now.
Do you think drama is a soft subject?
No, not at all. The writing essays that we do at GCSE are really hard, but they're worth it, and they make you see things in a different way that you wouldn't have thought about it. And you get quite a lot of pressure put on you for the exams, but it's good, and then the finished result is amazing, so it's all worth it.
Absolutely, drama is my life. I've become a really confident individual through to drama, so I started drama when I was little, and I think it's the best subject. I think it gives students the most opportunities, it's the most creative subject, and drama is just my life.
How has drama benefited you?
So drama's benefited me. When I was younger, I was actually quite shy, and it was my mum that pushed me to go to an after-school drama club. So I now am able to present in front of people, I'm able to have really good social skills, I'm able to sympathise with other people, empathise with different scenarios, and I've become quite a well-rounded person through the skills I've gained in drama.
Seems to be a very positive opinion on drama there, but how will this affect the outcome of the general election?
The new Labour policy seems to come as a reply to statements made by the Education Secretary about the arts and core subjects in GCSE and A-levels.
According to Nicky Morgan, science and maths open more doors to students than arts and humanities subjects.
The debate continues as to whether it's right to restrict subject choices and change opinions through the Conservatives' new campaign, Your Life, especially with an 80% rise of students taking arts, humanities and businesses from 2002 to 2012.
The Your Life campaign aims to get a 50% rise in students taking A-level maths and physics in the next 3 years, as well as encouraging more bright graduates to work as science teachers.
The controversial campaign is backed by Miss Morgan, who believes that English, maths and science keep options open and can help in any field.
There have been an increase in mathematic results, including Shanghai, the leading place in the world for this subject. We will now learn about what the math department here at SJB is doing to improve the standards here.
As you may have heard, there's been a lot of maths in the news recently.
So we're here at SJB to interview Miss Carr, who's the head of maths.
Why is maths in the news at the moment?
Well, I think the government have finally realised what we knew all along, that maths is the best subject there is and the most important. And I think they've realised that maybe our maths standards aren't quite as high as they should be in the UK, and they're putting some more effort into improving some of the teaching that goes on. Because we know that maths is important, it's in everything that we do, and it's not just about the trigonometry or the algebra that you learn at school, but it's the skills you learn, the problem solving, the perseverance, how to check if you've got a realistic answer, and they're really important for life no matter what you do.
Why is Shanghai leading the way in maths?
Well, since 2009, Shanghai has topped international tables for their maths results. And so we've been looking for ideas from Shanghai and from some other countries like Sweden and Taiwan, because at the moment the UK is sort of in the mid-20s in those tables. So we don't necessarily want to be Shanghai because they do things very differently, but we are looking to them for their teaching methods to see if we can get any ideas from them and what makes them so successful, because we want to be able to compete with them as a nation.
iPads have become the popular new trend all across the country, and many schools see the iPad as a vital ingredient in their students' academy success.
Since 2010, researchers have shown that 66% of students have been helped by using iPads in their lessons. However, a third of people believe that iPads aren't the best way for children to learn. For many people, iPads prepare children for the digital world, which we know is constantly ever-changing.
The question as to whether iPads actually improve academic achievement is not the one that anybody has been able to answer with great certainty, whilst academy and independent schools seem to be embracing iPads with the greatest enthusiasm. We have visited a state school in Surrey to see what iPads have done for them.
I think the iPad scheme at SJB has been really successful. 99% of the students now have iPads in year 7 to 11, and I think it's really allowed them to work differently and given them some independence during lessons and some creativity as well to be able to tackle tasks in the way that they want to rather than the way that the teacher wants them to all the time. I think in terms of, well, there's probably two sides to it. One is the e-safety side, and so trying to protect them when they're online, which, to be honest, whether they had iPads through our scheme or whether they had smartphones in their pockets, they would be. So I think it's really important, if you are introducing an iPad scheme, that you really think about the e-safety support within the school and what the students are taught and given guidance on for that side of things, and also what guidance parents are given. I think there's also the idea of students walking around with our sort of blazers on, with equipment in their pockets, and it's a really difficult one. So we certainly make sure that students, when they leave school, that they don't have them out, that they're away in their bags, and you know, so far we haven't had any problems with that.
According to teachers in SJB, iPads are making a great impact on all students. They say that they make learning fun and exciting and more effective by having all resources on one tablet.
According to teachers in SJB, iPads are making a great impact on all students. They say that they make learning fun and exciting and more effective. That's all for today. Thank you for watching and goodbye.